Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Grab a coffee, maybe some tea. Let's see. I've got honey lavender, and it's delish by Red Rose. It's one of my favorite tea companies besides Bigelow. Anyway, grab a snack. All right, and if you're wondering why I'm in my office, out there is a mess. And it's because the kids are home, so they're moving all their stuff in and trying to organize and going through all their stuff and stuff like that. So we'll be back out there sooner than you think. All right, so I have a few things that we're going to be talking about today, okay? And the first thing is this email that I got, and this woman is from Nigeria, and she is a community member, and I hold her very dear to my heart. I love her. And she says, I talked with my best friend in Nigeria today, and she said she finally went to the market to get rice flour, cooking oil, and sugar. Well, at the market, she was being hesitant about getting more than 50-kilogram bag of rice. And she thought she'd get one and maybe next week and then go back for another. She said the vendor told her to go ahead and get at least two. And she told my friend that at the depot where she got the items from, there were more vendors than produce. And it didn't matter how much you're willing to pay. There simply was not enough to go around. And she said that things got physical, and younger vendors were pushing her around. And also at the depot, they were also told to come back next week. Prices would be at least 30% higher. And the lady told me that the word famine is here. She said to convert your money to what you'll be able to use, because in the next few months, your money will be useless. So this is happening over in Nigeria, okay? So that's just a heads up of what's going on in another country. Okay, so the next thing, this is an email from a community member who is a very, very good friend of mine, and she lives in the UK. And she said, my conclusion to everything that's going on, they want us all destitute, penniless, and starving, walking around looking like a ragamuffin Joe and Annie. And that truly is it in a nutshell. After all, you will own nothing and be happy and all that bollocks. As for me personally, well, I haven't got anything anyways, so how can they take what I don't have? She said, anyway, here's a couple of snippets of things going on in the UK for you. All right. She said, as you know, the race has been on for a new UK Prime Minister. They are now down to the last two candidates, which are Liz Truss, Truss, and Rishi Sunak, Sunak, both of whom are non-entities and walking disasters. Oh boy, sounds like that. Oh, all right. So she said there isn't much to choose from between them, and whichever one gets in as PM, oh boy, is the UK going to be in big, big trouble. More than we are now. That Liz Truss, or is it Truss? Truss. Well, she said is nothing but a trigger happy B word, and she will most certainly take us into war with Russia unless she can be talked out of it and stopped. Remember the articles I sent you months ago about stuff she was saying concerning the war in Europe and encouraging British citizens to go over and fight? Yeah, I do remember that. And she said, yeah, that's her. And the other thing I wanted to tell you was the ever-increasing energy prices. Here in the UK, the new price cap has been announced, and starting in October, our energy bills are going to increase by 80%. Now, we've been seeing increases in our energy bills, our electric bills and whatnot, right? Okay, so they're going to start seeing 80% increase. That's crazy. And she said, how do they think people are going to afford that? Also, the price cap is going to be reviewed and set every 3 months instead of every 6 months like it's always been. So that means our energy bills will increase again in January 2023 and again in April 2023. I guess the US and other countries will be seeing something similar. We are. And she said, as also, it has now emerged that a group are now going to sue OFGEM, OFGEM, over this 80% increase in cost. Well, I wish them good luck with that one, as it won't get them anywhere, I don't think. This is a worldwide problem, not just a UK one. Ofgem is the regulator that sets the emergency price cap, I think. So here's a link to the article. Okay, so there's going to be a link in the description box below, so you guys can have reference to what she's talking about with the energy prices going up 80%. So that's, okay, so from 2 different countries, at least you guys know what is really going on. Now, this. Okay. For those of us that have little ones that go out trick-or-treating, okay, this is important, all right? The failing intelligence deep state regime is desperately trying to save itself by provoking an armed uprising that can be blamed on conservatives and Trump supporters. Here we go. And they need this revolt to bury the damning facts that are now emerging about the FBI's interference laptop, okay? And the arm candy and things that we just can't ignore that we've all been talking about, all right? And the shocking truth about the engineered collapse in food, energy, supply chains worldwide, all right? Now, people will starve and they will freeze this winter all across all nations, okay? So, people are waking up like never before. We're seeing it ourselves, right? And this means that the deep state must try to invoke more violence than ever before. And this is why the narrative is being pushed, I guess you could say, that the claims about conservatives are semi-fascist, okay? Even though the real fascism, it comes from the left and the you know, things that they're doing, and okay, and it's destroyed America's economy with the lockdowns and the shattered First Amendment by ordering big tech to censor all of us, right? And now the deep state wants to bait Americans into an armed, violent uprising, and they got the tools to achieve it. And since these deep state guys, I mean, they are, in fact, I mean, you want to talk about, like what's the sorry saying, bait and, you know, like they know how to bait you, you know what I mean? And the common indictment, okay, of 45 is part of a provocation scheme designed to whip up the American people into an emotional state of revolt. And it's, if that's like not enough, okay, Democrats are making a highly organized attempt to rig the midterms, okay, and maintain control over both the House and the Senate, which gun confiscation laws could be passed, signed into law to further provoke American conservatives into an attempted uprising. So it's critical that we the people do not fall for these provocations. And violence is what this regime wants to provoke. It's like poking the bear, or like poking a wasp nest, all right? And it only means that violence is exactly what we must reject. You know, it's like Did you ever feel like confrontational almost, and you say, be the bigger person, be the bigger person, be the bigger person. Don't overreact. Don't do it. You know what I mean? That's what we kind of have to do here. We have to reject what they're trying to push on us and be the bigger person and say, okay? And this is a time for all real Americans, okay, to go against this corrupt establishment and demand the dismantling and banishing of this authoritarian Marxist system of selective prosecutions and government-sponsored terrorism that has been weaponized against American conservatives. So, if the Democrats, if they continue to hold the House and the Senate, plan to pass new assault weapons legislation that would require nationwide registration, tax payments for each rifle and pistol capable of holding more than 10 rounds that a person owns. Okay, and if this passes, anyone obeying the new law would effectively violate their own Fifth Amendment rights by testifying against themselves via registration of their firearms. So, failure to register and pay for the taxes, it would result in one of the new 87,000 IRS pew pew agents, okay, and they'll come to your home and they could possibly arrest you at gunpoint for tax evasion. So, you know, this is another reason why those 87,000 new people were hired. So this effort is not designed to actually confiscate all of our guns, but rather to anger the American people so much that they do revolt against the government, thereby creating this chaos that the regime needs to declare an act of insurrection and invoke a form of martial law that would see U.S. troops operating on the streets of America. So essentially, the potato regime, okay, is trying to J6 half the country and throw as many conservatives and Christians and pro-2A people as possibly into gulags and death camps, formerly known as quarantine camps, okay? But it'll be under Mr. 19, of course, okay? So this regime is merely one crisis away from pulling this off. And remember that the Democrats project all of their own evil intentions onto their political opponents. So when they claim that conservatives are the threat to democracy, it's because they're trashing their own democracy. When they claim conservatives are violent, which we are not, okay, it's because of they themselves are violent. Antifa, anyone? Okay. When they claim conservatives don't value children, it's because Democrats themselves want to mutilate and I'm not even going to go there. Not even going to go there. Okay? We value our children. We are very good parents. So for them to say that we don't, that upsets me to no end. Every accusation that they have hurled at conservatives is actually a description of their own dark intentions. In addition, okay, to the warnings that I just talked about, which would take place after the midterm elections, by the way, there's a new warning emerging about an October surprise false flag attack that's being engineered to portray conservatives and gun owners as violent terrorists. And it's so false. It's so beyond the truth. I mean, it's a big fat lie that they're trying to feed I mean, the media narrative is already being put into place on this. And you may have noticed it. And I mean, the three-letter agency, okay, is running a Whitmer-style false flag plot to recruit disenfranchised conservatives and make them the patsies in a large-scale, made for MSM media to push the final conservatives are terrorist narrative, right? So nobody is, better at plotting and carrying out large-scale acts of this shite anyway in America than three-letter agencies themselves. Of course, it was masterminded, like the 1993 Twin Towers. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. The Oklahoma City, Waco. I mean, and a lot of people say 9/11. I'm not even going to touch that because I know people that perished. Okay? And these three-letter agencies, I'm sorry, it was behind each and every single one of them. Running the ops, recruiting, providing intelligence, hardware, technical assistance to carry them out. Now, the new false flag is likely to be carried out just in time to strongly affect the midterms. And the staged event will be used as justification to start arresting conservative podcasters. Yeah. Social media influencers. That's what they would consider me, right? And anyone who, on some level of revolt talk, can be attributed. Now, the First Amendment, okay, be damned, especially with the Biden regime, is going to say that any conservatives who merely express disagreement with the regime are, by definition, guilty of yelling fire in a crowded theater. They're subject to arrest. Even if they had nothing at all to do with it whatsoever, as the events unfold. Okay? Now, that's the mega false flag event that's being planned. At the same time, there still exist white hat forces inside three-letter agencies, Pentagon, police, law enforcement. Okay? We know it. No, we're a law enforcement family. But, if you really look into it, you'll find it. I mean, they have a real shot at frustrating, even halting this effort. There's a civil war right now inside the Pentagon, the FBI. And with each passing day, more and more government agents are realizing if they don't get on the side of freedom and the rule of law, they will watch their own country go down in flames in the coming chaos. The worst deep state actors are rapidly running out of friends, and it is notable that even J6 wasn't able to be pulled off like they had hoped. It fizzled. And at the same may happen with the October surprise that's being planned. I mean, all we could do is hope and pray for peace and wisdom and all that for those who are able to discern the truth about what's really happening and thereby stop it. So there's so much more. There's so much more. All right. All right, guys, listen. I'm out of here. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping. And as always, fear less. Ciao.